You asked Nadine, what did Jacob and Edward work together?
It all begins in a very ordinary way. Jacob is talking to Bella when Edward suddenly appears, and in that exact moment, something impossible happens. Jacob looks at Edward, and he experiences imprinting. A bond forms that he cannot control, understand, or escape, and in panic, he suddenly runs away, leaving Bella behind. Later, Bella comes to Jacob's house, confused and worried, but it is Billy who opens the door. He tells her that Jacob does not want to see her. Still, Jacob and Bella meet again in La Push. He pulls away from her once again, unable to explain what is happening inside him. At the same time, Jacob begins to notice Edward more and more. He tries to keep his distance, but he can't help watching him from afar, and Edward notices it too, because Edward can read minds. Edward realizes what has happened, and knowing Jacob will never approach him directly, Edward makes the first move. He finds Jacob and takes him into the forest. There, Edward admits that he knows everything. Jacob, overwhelmed and ashamed, admits that he cannot control what he feels, even though he knows it is wrong. But instead of rejecting him, Edward stays, and something shifts between them, something neither of them can ignore anymore. From that moment on, they begin meeting in secret. Jacob tells Billy that he is going to see Bella. Edward tells his family that he is spending time with Bella. But in reality, they meet each other in the forest, hidden away from the world, trying to live in moments where nothing else exists except the two of them. For a while, it feels like freedom, like peace, like maybe, just maybe, they could exist without being destroyed by who they are. But the truth cannot stay hidden forever. Billy begins to suspect something is wrong and calls Charlie. Charlie says Jacob is not with Bella. Around the same time, Carlisle contacts Charlie as well and discovers that Edward is also not with Bella. It becomes clear that both of them have been lying. One day, Jacob and Edward meet again in the forest. For a brief moment, it feels like they are safe, and in that fragile silence, they kiss, but they are seen. A member of the wolf pack witnesses everything. And in that instant, everything collapses. Jacob panics and pulls away from Edward, then runs into the forest, realizing that there is no way to hide anymore. Edward returns to his family and tells them the truth. The Cullens are shocked. They do not reject Edward for loving a man, but they are horrified that the person he loves is a werewolf. Jacob, at the same time, is forced to face his own family and the wolf pack. When he tells them the truth, their reaction is harsh and unforgiving. They do not accept what he feels. They do not understand it, and what they hear feels wrong to them in every possible way. Jacob can no longer stay there. He runs away into the forest. The next day, Edward comes to the pack to find Jacob, but no one helps him. Edward can see through their thoughts and realizes the situation is far more serious than he expected. He searches the forest for him. Eventually, Edward finds Jacob. He tells that none of this changes how he feels and begs him to come away with him, to leave Forks, leave the pack, and this time Jacob says yes. They run away. In a small house deep in the forest, they finally get a chance to be together without having to lie, hide, or pretend. For the first time, it feels like maybe they could really have a future. But that fragile peace does not last. One day, Jacob crosses paths with the pack again. They all share. Because of his relationship with Edward, the old treaty with the Cullens has been broken, and now Edward and the entire Cullen family are in danger because of him. Around the same time, Edward speaks to Carlisle and learns that the Volturi have also found out about his relationship with a werewolf, and that if the Volturi decide to interfere, Edward could be in serious danger. When Edward tells Jacob everything, Jacob can only hear one thing. Edward is now being threatened from both sides, and all of it is happening because of Jacob. That night, while Edward leaves the house to hunt, Jacob makes his decision. He quietly slips away before Edward can stop him. There is only one way to protect Edward now. If he disappears, then maybe Edward will no longer be caught between the wolves and the Volturi. The next morning, Edward comes back and immediately realizes Jacob is gone. He searches for him in panic, refusing to believe what Jacob may have done. But when Edward finally finds him, it is already too late. Jacob has taken his own life. Edward cannot accept it. He cannot live without Jacob. The world suddenly becomes empty. And so Edward makes his final decision. He goes to the Volturi, not to ask for help, not to explain, but to end everything there as well.
Yeah, I'm sorry for this not happy ending. I just think that vampire and werewolf cannot be actually together, and I think that probably family of Jacob will be like a homophobic. And I think this story is kind of like Romeo and Juliet, they cannot be together. And also you can write in the comments your ideas for my next videos and maybe I will make it.